Hey everybody, it's Mike again with the Claim Squad Public Adjusters, and we're going to be talking about these Hurricane Ian claims. Insurance companies are already denying claims and underpaying claims, and I'm going to show you proof here in a minute. So watch this video. There's a lot of important stuff on here. So for those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Mike Keeler. I'm a licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. This is how you can reach me by cell phone, email, and my website. So on Saturday, I get this text message from a client where he talks about, hey, Mike, I've got this client and he's my neighbor, has insurance, no flood. His condo insurance has denied coverage. Now, the problem a lot of people are talking about with their claims, okay? They're calling their homeowners, their home insurance, and they're saying, I've got all this water in my house from a storm surge or flooding. I need help. I want to file a claim. You can't do that. You can't do that. Here's the three magic words. Wind. Okay? Wind. Driven. Driven. And the last word is rain. This is all you should ever speak about. Wind, driven, rain. Remember that. Write that down. Tell this to your neighbors. Tell it to the governor. Tell it to the mayor. Okay? Insurance companies do not want to hear this. They're going to ask you, one of the first questions, is your damage from water, from flood, from the storm surge? Well, if you have roof damage, if you have rain that came in from your soffits, how do you know if you weren't at your home whether it's wind-driven rain or from a low storm surge? But the problem is people keep on saying and calling their home insurance company talking about the water. All right, water. They're talking about flood. And I've had 5 inches, so on and so forth. But there is help. But again, I always tell this, it's what you say, how you say it, and the way you come across. And I understand people are desperate, so these type of elements are important before you go and file your homeowner's claim. So the last episode, or the last slide, was about a claim that was denied. Here we got a claim from a gentleman who wants to use my services. He's like, I just got a call from Progressive. They said they have assessed the wind damage and the damage is worth $4,000, and given it is below my deductible, they will owe me nothing. People, this is what's going to happen. A lot of you that have roof damage with hardly any interior damage, they are going to say that your deductible or that your damages are below your deductible. All right? Now, there are ways around that. It is always better to have interior damage, but it's not always needed to get a roof replacement. Remember that. All right. This is their plan, the insurance company. It's already going on. It's 2 weeks in, and I'm getting text messages. So do people just drop it and not pursue it, or are they going to fight it? The insurance companies know over 90% of the people will not pursue the claim once it's denied, okay, or once they say it's below a deductible. This is what's going to happen, I'm telling you. So the other part of the insurance company tactics in these hurricane insurance claims, they're going to use the depreciation monster. If you have a roof claim, I guarantee they're going to be taking close to 40 to 50 to 60% of your roof for depreciation. If you have a $23,000 roof, they're going to depreciate it $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. Take your deductible and try to cut you a check for $8,000 or less. This is their plan. They're going to use this guy to underpay your claim. He is going to underpay your claim. Remember, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of claims. The insurance company does not care about you guys. How many people you have? How many people out there have homeowners insurance? Have they called offer you money? Have they called saying, hey, can we put you up in a home because we know your home's totally damaged? No. As a matter of fact, when you hear about loss of use coverage, right? This is what they do. You have to incur it, okay? The loss of use coverage. You have to incur it, meaning this is how we go about it. Let's say hurricane, your house is pretty much inhabitable, all right? Loss of use gives you money to live somewhere else. But these insurance companies put in their policy that you have to, okay, with loss of use, you have to incur it. Meaning, you spend 5 days in the hotel, it costs you $500. Send us a receipt, we'll reimburse you at some point. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, maybe 5 months, okay? Here's what you do to get around that. In Florida, if you have a contract, they consider that an incurred cost. You get Airbnb, you get a hotel, you get an apartment, you get temporary living, whatever the case might be, enter in a 60 to 90-day contract, send that to your insurance company, and then you could get the whole thing reimbursed. They should. But of course, they're going to probably take their time in paying it. But there's all these little things. The insurance company does not care about you. They'd be putting all you guys into a hotel, giving you money for food, but here you got FEMA doing it, all right? We don't pay any money through FEMA directly. Yes, through taxes and what have you. But you pay money to your insurance company, and they don't give any crap about you in this terrible situation that a lot of you guys are going through. Okay, so let's take a look at some of their tactics. These low ball estimates are going to happen left and right. It's going to be all over. All right. Some of their tactics. Here's what you're going to hear. Don't worry, we will cover it. And then the desk adjuster is going to come out with something totally different, or you're going to get just a check in the mail without any explanation for some low ball estimate. See, what happens is the adjusters, when they come from your home, and there's going to be a plethora of them from out of state, from Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolinas, right? They're taught not to be confrontational. They're taught, okay, when you go to an insurer's home, don't tell them what's not covered. You just do your thing, you get back. And then all of a sudden you realize that, wow, this nice guy who just talked to me for a half hour, telling me his whole life story about being divorced and how many kids and where he was born, just screwed me. So you're going to find that out. Flood claims, you're going to hear this. Everything's covered. Don't worry. It's probably going to max out to $250,000, which is this what most people have on their flood policy, $250K. You're going to hear, this is all storm surge damage. Your home insurance doesn't cover storm surge. That's already being used by these guys, even if you do have wind damage, right? And then you're going to find all these other things. They're going to cut corners in the feet, right? So if you have a 15 feet or 15 linear feet of cabinets, they'll probably say that you have 11. Countertops, cabinets, they're going to say you can't see behind here, but we can just remove and replace them. No, you can't. If they're damaged on the bottom from water and the toe kicks are removed or damaged, the whole cabinets get replaced. You can't remove and replace it. You can't remove and replace your countertop. 98% of the time, your countertop will crack. And I think this is where everything's going to be a rude awakening for people, because the roof damage is really where the insurance companies are going to try and fight. A lot of this you're going to hear, your damage is below your deductible. That's going to be the classic. You are going to hear this over and over from your neighbors, from your friends, from your relatives. This is what you're going to hear most and foremost. Along with that, it coincides with this one. You only need repairs, which is under your deductible, or they'll send you a check for $2,000. Okay? Citizens, you have to show that there's a storm-created opening in your citizen policy. There's language to this effect, meaning they're going to want to see a leak, something like that. Your roof is owed. That's the only reason why the hurricane blew it out. The roof is owed. And then we got American Integrity and UPC. Okay, UPC, who might be going insolvent pretty soon. They're already bringing out roofers and engineers, right? They want to check your roof. They're going to act like they just want to check your roof to make sure it's okay. No. Look at my video. I'll put it up. I'll put it up in the description, but check out my video about why insurance companies bring out engineers. These are, and roofers that work for them, they are claim denial specialists, especially the engineers, right? It's the same characters working for the same companies doing the same old garbage of trying to act like they're going to try and find damage to help you. No, they're coming out to deny your claim. Do me a favor, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So I said this a couple weeks ago. This is what I'm predicting. An unprecedented amount, okay, unprecedented amount of denied and underpaid claims. The insurance companies are really going to be playing hard in this hurricane, and for people, it's going to be disappointing. Let your neighbors know. Let everybody know what to expect if you're watching this video. This is going to happen, and it is happening, unfortunately. Okay, so let's talk about this concurrent causation doctrine. And there's going to be what's called anti-concurrent causation language in your policy. And let me briefly explain this. So when damage to a property results from a combination of a covered and not covered peril, all right, the damage is covered. So for instance, flood is not a covered peril on your homeowner's policy, but wind is, all right? So you have competing coverages of a covered peril versus a non-covered peril, the flood. So then it says that the damage should be covered when you have a combination of a covered peril versus a non-covered, aka excluded peril. But it's not that simple. So this is where the headaches start. This anti-concurrent causation basically says, if you look at this, that the excluded covered peril, including and plus a covered peril, all right? If the damage is caused by a combination of covered peril and an excluded peril, non-covered peril, and that excluded peril includes anti-concurrent causation language, then the damage is excluded. All right. So how do you get around it? What can you do? Can you do anything? Let's see. So what hit Fort Myers, what hit Cape Coral, what hit Captiva and Sanibel and all these other places is a storm surge and flooding versus wind. You have to show damage from wind above the water line. All right, which means from your soffits, roof, etc. This is important. If you do have wind damage and some water came in from your roof, some water came in through soffits or any other means, you can now have an argument that some of the water from the covered peril above the flood line maybe cause some other damages, and that could give you a larger recovery. A lot of public adjusters don't know how to use this. A lot of public adjusters don't utilize this or know how to utilize it and get around it to your advantage. This is why it's so important to hire people that know what they're doing. And no offense to the public adjusters walking around the block and handing out flyers, but those probably aren't the people that I would count on when you have a very important claim and your house is damaged, right? You want somebody with experience. You want to know somebody who knows about this and how to handle it, how to get around it, and how to maximize your claim. Very important. This isn't a time to let somebody who's walking around the block handing out flyers, right, and trying to convince you about your roof being damaged and how they can do it. This isn't the time for that. This claim and this hurricane and the disaster is way too important. And that goes the same with roofers and everybody else right now who's out there parading through the blocks and tarp people and everybody else, attorneys, advertising on radio, everything, right? Everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie and not really worrying about you and the damage you suffered.